Hello and welcome to the channel, everybody. In this video I want to talk about the new CSL DD with the boost kit in comparison to the CSL Elite I was running as my daily driver before this, and maybe a touch on the Logitech G27 that I was running before this. I guess you can say I've kind of been sim racing for years, ever since I was a little kid. I think my first proper steering wheel years ago, back in, I think it was the early 2000s, would have been the Thrustmaster NASCAR Pro Digital. I don't think they even had force feedback back then. It was just a spring inside there and no feedback. And then I went to some Mad Cat steering wheel, and then to a G27, to the CSL Elite, and now the CSL DD. In amongst all that, especially when I was younger, there was probably a lot of no-name branded steering wheels that I did use for my PlayStation 1 and all that back then, but let's not worry about those. I mainly want to focus on my recent three, because most of you out there right now are probably either on something like this, a CSL Elite, or maybe a Thrustmaster T300, something like that, or a Logitech G27, 29, G 1 million different numbers, and you're wanting to know, should you invest in this? A CSL DD, direct drive wheel, reasonably entry level. Is it really worth the upgrade? Let me tell you, for quite a few years I was running the Logitech G27 with the Logitech G27 pedals also, but I found the feedback with the gear-driven Logitech G27 to be very... It was just, the feedback was a bunch of knocks. Even in a straight line, it was just giving you a bunch of knocks mostly. Cornering, it was just knock, yep, I've hit a curb. You can still go fast on the G27, you just have to learn to hear different things, like the sounds of the tyres and different things on the Logitech G27, and be aware to your other senses. Whereas when I upgraded to the CSL Elite, things started to change. You did also take aware of all your tyre noises and different things, but the feedback through the wheel was different. You can actually start to rely on what you're feeling through the wheel with the CSL Elite. It's no longer a bunch of knocks. But with this, you do get a bit of, I guess you could say, sponginess. Because of the belt that's in here with the motor connected to the, you get a bit of, you don't get the finer detail of the feedback, because the belt is actually taking up a lot of that detail and not putting it through the shaft and to your wheel. So you do lose a little bit. You do get a little bit more of an elasticy feel with this compared to, let's say, a CSL DD direct drive that's putting every little detail through the shaft. But I mean, for the price of the CSL Elite, it really wasn't a bad unit. I personally had this for, I think, 2 years. I personally have not had an issue with this base. It's been pretty much flawless for me. The thing I probably just wanted a little bit more with the CSL Elite was some of the finer detail and a little bit more force. But I mean, compared to the G27, this thing was a lot better. Like the jump from G27 to this, I think, is quite a leap. It's just chalk and cheese different. This particular CSL Elite is PlayStation compatible, whereas the CSL DD is not. Some people use them with the drive hub to make them compatible. It's not supported by Fanatec, however. I believe there will be a PlayStation version coming out in the future. may already be out when you watch this video. When it comes to mounting, you obviously get a few more mounting positions with the CSL DD compared to the Elite. With the Elite, you either have the table mount or the three bolts at the bottom. With the CSL DD, you have the sliders in the bottom with the little T-nuts that you can slide to any position that you want. So it does make it a little bit more adjustable. You can buy the table clamp if you wanted to. And with the CSL DD, you can also side mount it as well, which some cockpits allow you to do. However, with the CSL DD, you cannot front mount it, unlike the DD1 and DD2 and a lot of the other direct drives out there. You can side mount, you can bottom mount, you can table mount. Unfortunately, no front mount. The front of the CSL DD is plastic. Now I've got my phone mount on the front of it, which is okay because it's not heavy. The middle part of the chassis is aluminium, so that is much stronger. Now the CSL Elite, I've noticed it does have an angle onto it, so especially if you're mounting it on a table with the table, you get a little bit of a slant, which is probably what you want on a table. If you're mounting it to a rig like what I have over there, I probably would have... One thing that did annoy me a little bit about this on my rig was the fact that it did have that angle and I couldn't take that angle off. I had to try and adjust my rig to suit the angle and I could never get it quite flat like I can with the CSL DD. So that annoyed me a little bit, but that's probably just my own personal preference. This CSL Elite wheelbase does come with the table clamp, whereas the CSL DD does not. The table clamp for the CSL DD is extra. I think it's another 50 Australian dollars extra maybe. One of the things with the CSL Elite that I didn't like is the fan noise. There's a little fan up here. I'm not sure you can actually see it. There is a fan there. With a bit of hard racing, the fan, and because I had my microphone above it as well, you could hear it quite a bit. But yeah, the CSL DD is quiet. But now let's talk about the driving feel. The feedback when you're on the edge of grip, when you're on the edge of losing it, maybe you already have slightly lost it and your part sliding out. I think for me, that's one of the benefits of the CSL DD. Obviously with the CSL Elite and coming from like a G27, you got a lot more of that and you could help save the car when you're on the edge of losing it a lot better than the G27. And you get that a lot more with the CSL DD. With the CSL DD being direct drive, with all the little curbs, pieces of gravel, all that, you notice that with the CSL DD. You feel that with the CSL DD. It's the minor force feedback that I think you feel the most with the CSL DD compared to the mid to high forces. I mean, you still get that with the CSL Elite in my opinion. Obviously with the CSL DD you get 2 more Newton meters of it because it's 8 Newton meters with the boost kit, whereas this is 6 Newton meters. So you do get slightly more of the top end forces with the CSL DD. I have heard comments from people on like Fanatec Owners Australia group and all this sort of stuff saying, I don't know why you would need any more forces than this. It's practically breaking my arms off. I'm not too sure how puny their muscles are, but I'm not feeling that. I don't feel that this has that kind of force. Sometimes maybe in a crash it has quite a lot of force, but under normal driving circumstances I don't think it does, unless you've turned your feedback right up and you're literally clipping every single corner, maybe that's your settings not being right. You shouldn't have your settings up to 100% in the game and 100% on here. You'll just be clipping everywhere, and maybe that's why you're feeling like you're going to break your arms off. The CSL DD under normal circumstances does not do that. If you're looking at this video and you already have a CSL Elite or a Club Sport wheelbase 2.5 or something, and you're wondering whether it's a big enough upgrade to go to the CSL DD, I personally would say yes, especially if you've got a CSL Elite and you're wanting a little bit more forces, a little bit more detail. The CSL DD will give you that. I would recommend the boost kit. For me, I think if I didn't get the boost kit, I probably would have been a bit disappointed in the CSL DD. It's just not enough of an upgrade from the CSL Elite. I would feel like I'm spending money for nothing here. It really does need the power of the boost kit. Otherwise, just no point. If you're on something like this, or Club Sport wheel, get the boost kit. If you're looking for a lot of force and you're wanting to upgrade from a CSL Elite or Club Sport wheels, go a DD1, go a DD2. If you're looking for a significant upgrade in the forces, this is not for that. So yeah, that's my point. If you've got this, if you've got something in this, I guess you would say mid-tier belt-driven bracket, then, and you want a lot more forces, this might not be for you. I mean, if you're on a G27, G29, and you're looking for that entry-level wheelbase, especially if you're on a table and you're using the table mount, well, yeah, maybe a 5 Newton meter might still be a great upgrade for you, just like the CSL Elite was to me when I went from a G27. I know G27 compared to the 5 Newton meter version of this, I mean, 5 Newton meter version of this, hands down. And then if you wanted to later, you can get the boost kit, because that's the only difference. This is no different. It's just the boost. It's a power supply, an expensive power supply. One thing to definitely consider if you are on a G27 and looking to upgrade, but kind of on a budget where you may not be able to afford the boost kit version, and you're just looking at either the 5 Newton meter version or buying something on the second-hand market like the CSL Elite, what I would consider, if you're entering the Fanatec ecosystem, it may be wise to go with the CSL DD, even if it is the 5 Newton meter version, because you can upgrade later to the boost kit. You can upgrade to some of the later wheels that will use QR2, the quick release 2. With the CSL Elite, you are locked into QR1, quick release 1, which you can use all the older wheels like this one here that have QR1 just attached as per standard. You cannot change this at all. You can't change this to QR2, but all the older wheels you'll be able to run on your CSL Elite, and all, well, at the time of filming, all the current generation wheels can run on QR1 also. I don't know about in the future. I don't think Fanatec have really cleared that up with QR2. If QR2 is going to become the standard and QR1 will just not become a thing anymore, or whether they're going to continue it on the same lineup, whereas if you want to stay with one, you can, but with these wheels, you might need QR2. If you can afford the CSL DD, go the CSL DD. The CSL DD is upgradable to QR2 when it becomes available, whereas units like the CSL Elite will not be upgradable to QR2. But most wheels on the Fanatec ecosystem at the moment are coming out with the V2, like this McLaren V2 wheel I've got here. This is the Club Sport QR1, the steel quick release. This particular wheel normally comes with the QR1 Lite, which is a carbon infused quick release. But the thing with the V2 wheels is you can just pull that off and you can change that to QR2 when it becomes available. As you can see, that is not upgradable to QR2. The bolts are coming from the inside, and that, I think, is the benefit to buying into the Fanatec ecosystem at the moment, even on a budget with the CSL DD 5 Newton meters. But yeah, I think that's about it for now. I'm yet to do my review of the CSL DD. That will be coming up in one of the next videos. Hit subscribe and the bell to be notified when that goes live. Hit the like button if you liked it, and I'll see you in the next video.